Breaking the big stories, like time zones. Do they really exist? Is it really 5 hours ahead right now in England? Do you have any proof of this? Time zones may be as fake as NASA's hiding the true story behind the first manned mission to the sun. This and other groundbreaking disclosures on The Daniel Natal Show. Charles Scaliger had an interesting story over on the New American website entitled Russia versus the Ukraine. Is it our fight? In it, we read, in early November of 2021, a world already preoccupied by the coronavirus pandemic was jolted anew by the sudden announcement of a massive Russian military buildup along Ukraine's eastern border. The long-simmering territorial dispute over the Donbas, a region in eastern Ukraine that is culturally and linguistically Russian, almost overnight became a potential theater for a major war between East and West. American and European leaders lined up in support of Ukraine and its charismatic young president, Volodymyr Zelensky. Even as Russia's longtime strongman, President Vladimir Putin, drew a line in the sand. Ukraine, Putin insisted, was historically part of Russia and would never be permitted to join NATO alongside fellow former Soviet republics Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. To put this in historical context, when Gorbachev negotiated the fall of the Soviet Union, he did so under the proviso that NATO wouldn't expand further. The United States agreed with this. Of course, here's a map of NATO around the time of the Soviet collapse, and here's a map of NATO now. As you can see, the United States did not keep its promise to limit NATO's expansion. Tucker Carlson recently got in trouble with Washington's neocon elite when he pointed out that if the tables were turned, America would never accept such a thing on its border.
Why are the Russians so upset? Why are we moving towards some kind of conflict? Well, there's one reason. Over a number of different administrations, the United States government has pushed Ukraine to join NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Imagine if Mexico fell under the direct military control of China. We would see that as a threat, of course. There'd be no reason for that. Well, that's how Russia views NATO control of Ukraine, and why wouldn't they? We don't get anything out of pushing Ukraine into NATO, so why are we doing this?
Here's what's happening. Soon after the Soviet Union collapsed, powerful Washington insider and founder of the Trilateral Commission, Zbigniew Brzezinski, wrote a book called The Grand Chessboard. In it, he said that it was of the utmost importance for the United States to take advantage of this strategic opportunity and confabulate a pretext to get U.S. troops into Central Asia to seize all the mineral wealth and oil that the USSR had previously been making use of. By the way, here's his daughter Mika Brzezinski on MSNBC ginning up war with Russia now.
And it's time for the Biden White House to start speaking more clearly and more aggressively and telling us how they're going to stop this invasion from happening.
She says it's her job to tell people what to think.
And that's exactly what I hear. What Yamiche just said is what I hear from all the Trump supporters that I talk to who were Trump voters and are still Trump supporters. They go, yeah, you guys are going crazy. He's doing, what are you so surprised about? He's doing exactly what he said he's going to do.
Well, and I think that the dangerous, edges here are that he's trying to undermine the media, trying to make up his own facts. And it could be that while unemployment and the economy worsens, he could have undermined the messaging so much that he can actually control exactly what people think. And that is our job.
Yeah, if you look at the issues.
Aside from Ms. Brzezinski's telling us what to think, here are the facts. The United States' power after World War II was based on the fact that the dollar was the world's reserve currency. In the 1970s, the dollar was pegged to oil, thus inventing the petrodollar. Nixon struck a deal with OPEC saying that all the world's oil had to be sold only in dollars. This means that the central bank of every country on Earth needs dollars to keep their cars on the road or their energy grid in place. So no matter how much debt we print up, the rest of the world wants it in the form of treasuries because they need those dollars to buy petroleum. So America is in the unique position of growing its debt and being able to sell it to the rest of the world. We create expensive social programs and don't have the money to fund them, so the Treasury prints up bonds. Every other country in the world buys those bonds to convert them into cash to buy oil. So America has been sitting pretty for a long time. It's the one nation on Earth that can outsource its inflation to other countries. What's happening now is a stealth economic war between Russia, China, and the West. Russia and China want to subtly undermine America's economic power by getting people off of oil, thus off of their reliance on the petrodollar. See the article, How Russia and China Use Nuclear Reactors to Win Global Influence. In it, we read, Russia and China are using nuclear power projects to build spheres of energy dependence, and the United States is unprepared to respond. In April, Turkey broke ground on its first nuclear power plant, which the government says will help meet the country's rapidly growing demand for electricity and increase its energy independence. In reality, the project may make Ankara much more vulnerable to Kremlin influence, as the plant will be built, owned, and operated by Russia. Russia and China are also busy creating a second financial settlement system to bypass America's SWIFT system, which oversees international transactions. SWIFT was born in 1973 along with the petrodollar. SWIFT stands for the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication, and since the age of bell-bottoms, this has been the only way to oversee international transactions. Well, the Chinese system is called CIPS. According to Reuters, Chinese banks urged to switch away from SWIFT as U.S. sanctions loom. At any rate, what's happening is that America likes the carrot and stick of foreign aid and sanctions to control countries. If those tools are taken away, then Washington will start to get very nervous. So what we're watching unfold right now in the media is sabre-rattling and threats from the United States. If this behavior continues, and if Russia and China bypass U.S. sanctions and invite the rest of the world to do so, then much soft power will have leaked out of the American empire. The last ace up their sleeve is brute military aggression. We'll be following these events closely. The John Birch Society provides a national program designed to counter the big government agenda and to restore our rights. Standing for constitutional freedoms for more than 60 years, the John Birch Society has been the force that protects and restores American liberty and independence. Check them out at jbs.org.